Hello everyone and welcome to Nervous Nessie. So, you've gone on your trip and had a wonderful time, and now you have to return back to the real world. Well, today I'm going to give you 5 tips to help ease you back into the transition of going back to normal life. So stay tuned. This first tip is one that I actually do on every trip. Now, not everyone is able to do this depending on how many days you have to be able to take off work. But for me, I always plan it to where I take an extra day off of work after my trip. So let's say I go on a trip and my trip only lasts 5 days. I will actually take 6 days off of work at the end of the trip. That last day is for me to be able to transition back into normal life. There are 3 reasons why I do this. The first reason is to get caught up on stuff. Maybe it's personal things that I need to get caught up on, or it could be actual work. I'll wait until later in the day when it's after normal business hours, clock in and work. That way I can get caught up on emails without being bothered by my coworkers. The second reason is in case my flight or train or whatever transportation I'm taking is delayed. If my flight to return home is late, I don't have to worry about clocking in and working the next day. I can just be off work. And that relieves a lot of stress that comes along with traveling. The third reason that I do this is to reset my clock. If I am traveling to a different time zone, then my clock internally is going to be off by a little bit. Could be an hour, 2 hours, could be international, and it's almost an entire day. Having that day off of work at the end of your trip allows you to reset your internal clock, get fixed on your sleep schedule, get caught up, and just feel more relaxed and not stressed out about having to clock into work the day after your vacation. The second tip has to do with what you're doing while you're traveling. After your trip, you're going to have to do laundry. Maybe you were sweating, maybe you went swimming and you have wet bathing suits, but you're most likely going to have to do laundry whenever you return. And so while you are actually traveling and you're on your trip, try to plan a space in your luggage for all of your dirty clothes. For me, the way that I do this, because as everyone knows, I overpack. The way that I do this is I do packing cubes for all of my clothes. The first day or 2, maybe 3 of the trip, the dirty clothes that I have, I leave those in the bottom of my suitcase outside the packing cubes. I don't want to put them back into the packing cubes with my clean clothes, so I put it underneath. Then after a few days of my trip, when I have accumulated some of my dirty clothes, I will consolidate my packing cubes of clean clothes and then have a packing cube dedicated towards dirty clothes. So for example, I have a packing cube of all of my tops, a packing cube of all of my bottoms, and a packing cube of all of my underwear and socks. I will obviously have dirty items from all of those for each day. I will put those in the bottom of the suitcase, and then after a couple of days, I will maybe condense my tops and bottoms together into one packing cube and then leave that other packing cube that's empty as my dirty packing cube. Whenever I get home after a trip, all I have to do is open my suitcase, take that dirty clothes packing cube, unzip it, and dump it directly into the laundry. That way I don't have to worry about maybe I had some clean clothes that I never used on the trip and they get mixed in with the dirty clothes. The third tip for returning home from a trip is to go to the grocery store. Now, most of the time, if your trip is only a couple of days, you may not have to worry about this. But if your trip is a week, 2 weeks long, then you're going to probably have to go to the grocery store and get food items to cook or just to eat at home. It's a good idea before you go on your trip to make a list of what you will need whenever you return. If, for example, you buy milk every week, then you know you're going to need milk whenever you return. So put that on the list. When you come back from your trip, it's kind of a whirlwind of getting things done before going back into the real world, especially if you don't have the availability to take a day off at the end of your trip. So make the grocery list before you go on your trip. Even during your trip, if you happen to be out and about and you think of an item, put it in your phone. Add this item to the grocery list. That way, whenever you come back home, your grocery list is ready to go and you can just go shopping. The fourth item on this list kind of goes along with the grocery shopping. It's fill up your vehicle with gas. Now, if you're taking a road trip, obviously this is completely pointless, but if you're taking a train or you're flying or you're going on a cruise, then when you return, the last thing you want to do is have a vehicle with no gas in it or less gas than you're going to need to commute back and forth to work the first day you go back to work. It's a good idea before you go on your trip to fill up your vehicle with gas. Plus, you never know when, if you're on your trip and gas prices decide to skyrocket, when you come back, you're gonna be paying more than before your trip. The fifth item on this list is simply center yourself. You have just gone on an amazing vacation, a trip to somewhere you've always wanted to go to. You've had to juggle a lot of things on your trip, and your sleep schedule may even be off. And now you have to go back to the everyday grind. So you want to take some time to center yourself and just breathe and think about everything that you need to get done. Maybe take a moment to clear your head and get out a pen and paper and write down everything that needs to be done. Then start prioritizing those items. That way you don't get overwhelmed. It's so easy to come back from a trip and you're putting your luggage away and you're like, oh, here's laundry. You get started with your laundry and then you realize, oh, I'm out of detergent. Now I need to go to the grocery store. Then you've got to make a grocery store list. And then you realize you needed gas in your car. Don't do that to yourself. So take that time to center yourself and prioritize what needs to be done before you jump back into the real world. I hope you find these tips helpful. I know they've helped me a lot, and you guys may have some tips of your own. If you do, feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear what you do whenever you return from a trip. And if you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you would like to know whenever the next video comes out, then subscribe. And I look forward to seeing everyone in the next video. Bye!